Right, hello everybody. We're back with the next installment of this unscripted video thing where I'm just sort of playing the game and sharing whatever thoughts that I have. And I can always elaborate more on these in a later video, but yeah, I'm always really glad to hear from you all, and I always encourage discuss. What am I talking about? I always encourage discussion, and oh my gosh, do you hear this music? Yo, that came out of nowhere. Kind of loud, but it's okay. It's okay. I might lower it down just a tad. Yeah, it's at 100. It's the only thing at 100. Holy cow. But yeah. I know this isn't an exciting intro. It's not anything special really. But well, I mean, who's to say it isn't special? I mean, maybe to me, I might say it's not special because I don't really see it that way. But somebody else might see this as something special, and if it's important to them, then good for them. I admire your appreciation of life and the simple things. But yeah, something I want to talk about and just kind of get it out into the world. So maybe I could talk about it more later on, but that is this show I've been watching, which is actually thanks to one of my friends is the reason I'm watching it. They recommended it to me and it has really been I wouldn't say life-changing, but truly inspiring for sure. It's a very inspiring show. And I don't know if I'm gonna say it correctly because it is Japanese, so I don't know, but it's Hajime no Ippo. And bro, that show, I'm gonna put up a picture of it on screen, bro. That show is so awesome. Like, okay, I know it's just like some people watching it might get they might feel that it holy cow, alright, you gotta be patient with me. And thank you for doing so because there are times in these unscripted videos where it's like that, I kind of choke up. But yeah, I don't know how people do live streams, I feel like. I mean, I guess I do know because it's just sort of public speaking and getting used to speaking, but I don't know, I feel like that's kind of intense when, let's say, like 100,000 people are watching you, and it's just you have to sort of perform, and always keep that performance going. But anyways, yeah, what I was saying, this show, okay, some people might feel that it gets repetitive because it's just oriented around this boxer dude, right? Named Ippo Maknoichi. And dude, this guy's awesome, okay? Like a lot of people might see it as, oh, well, of course, the main character is always gonna win. It's always gonna end up in his favor, the fight's always gonna be so predictable. And, oh my gosh, what the heck? What the freak? Yo, he was just chilling. Okay. Anyways, yeah, a lot of people might say that it's. Oh my gosh, no! Jeez Louise, dude. Holy cow, Minecraft is scary. Bro, anyways, yeah, a lot of people might say it's predictable and it gets boring because of that. But of course, it isn't the storytelling. Well, I guess it is the storytelling, but it's you have to look at it from a different perspective. You can't come at the show thinking like, oh, this must be the greatest show. This has to be beautiful in its animation, which it is, but of course it's beautiful in many ways, but it's not the best. And if you're watching it with the intent of, hey, this show that I'm watching must be the best, and if it isn't, then it fails to meet my expectations, then you're clearly watching the wrong show, like you got to go watch something else. But the show in itself, if you just kind of just watch it passively and just see where it takes you and see where the show itself goes, it is extremely interesting and really beautiful, I've got to say. Like, it is just incredible the way that they develop the characters and the story. And I gotta say that the trait that really sticks out to me and that really makes me feel inspired and motivated is their willpower, because willpower is such a super strength that we are born with and that we as humans just have. And it's so incredible to me that we kind of, I wouldn't say take it for granted, but sort of overlook that we possess this power, this trait to do incredible things. I mean, there are people who go run marathons and who do all these astounding feats. And of course, it takes training. I'm not like diminishing their work and effort they put in, but I'm instead congratulating it because it does take a whole lot of work and effort. And yeah, that does take determination and, grinding, and you have to choose that every single day. And in that choice, there is willpower, you need the will to continue doing it. You need some sort of purpose, what's keeping you driven. And the reason that the fights are so intense in that show is because each fighter has their reasons for why they keep going, what feeds into their willpower. Like Ippo, he wants to be one of the greatest boxers. He wants to be strong. That's what he always said, is that he wants to be strong. Oh my gosh, they just like tag team him. But yeah, he was bullied is how the story goes, and he just wanted to no longer face that sort of, discrimination and prejudice. He doesn't want to be someone weak. And when it comes to boxing, a lot of people will like they might see it as a very hate-filled sport, or that there's just a whole bunch of people who are angry and they're throwing punches at each other. But the show represents how that's unhealthy boxing, to have that source of anger feeding your willpower. Because true willpower comes from when you have humility and humble respect for the person that you're fighting. You respect them as a person and a boxer. You recognize that both of you want to achieve greatness, and this is just, the stepping stone along both of your journeys. But yeah, I I really love that show because of the reasons that I mentioned. I kind of got off track because of that spider there. I mean, my brain got a little scrambled. But yeah, I really have come to love that show, and it's done a lot for me, I've gotta say. So to the friend who's watching this and who showed me that show, really thank you, because it means a lot to me. It means a great amount to me, and your life has impacted me through that show. Um, yeah, I know it's not the stunning show that's, incredibly like moving through its, development and everything, but it is a great show that has a lot of relatability and a lot of inspiration. And in that show, there's this guy named Ichiro Miyata, and I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm kind of just speaking, but yeah, Miyata, he was actually sort of a part of the inspiration as to why Ippo Makunoichi started boxing. And there was this sort of healthy competitive rivalry of, hey, I want to fight that guy in the ring. Both of them thought that way about one another. And they were like, yeah, I want to fight him because he seems like an awesome, worthy opponent who can really test my own strength, my own willpower. And that sort of healthy competition is a very good example of the way we should both kind of empower one another. I mean, I've never really been a sort of competitive person, so this doesn't apply to me as much. I mean, maybe someday I will have some sort of healthy competition, but as of right now, no, I don't really care all that much to compete with somebody, I don't. And the thing is, it's kind of sensitive because a lot of people can take it in an unhealthy way. Like, for example, Miyata, he eventually, like, the story goes that, by the way, spoiler alert, I guess I should say, but yeah, he goes on to, he made a promise to fight Ippo in the Japan Rookie Championship, but the thing is, he did not make it to the finals, so he actually moved to Thailand so that he would face Ippo in the World Championship, which is actually so incredible and so, I want to say ballsy, like to say like, oh, well, I guess I didn't make it here, but don't worry, I'll fight you someday. But yeah. So what I was going to say with that is that yeah, the competition does sort of get to him. Like around episode 40, which by the way, episode 40 is my favorite episode of the show that I've seen so far. I actually haven't completed watching the show, but it's very incredible. And yeah, episode 40 is really great. I would suggest, like, even if you don't watch the show, just go and watch episode 40 of the show, where Miyata faces off and he wins the fight. But well, I guess that's a spoiler, but yeah, my point in saying this is that the competition does get to him because he's like, how does Hippo do it. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can be as great as somebody else. And the way that I'm kind of wired, I guess you could say, is that I don't take well to negative reinforcement. You know, like I don't take well to somebody saying like, "Hey, you're terrible. You can't do this. You can't do anything." Blah blah blah. Because then I'm just gonna get discouraged. I mean, like I won't feel empowered in any way or motivated. And a lot of people, they're the total opposite. They will feel like wow, you know what? I'm gonna prove you wrong. That's the way that they think when it comes to negative reinforcement. But then there's such thing as positive reinforcement, which positive reinforcement is, as you could assume, the opposite, where you uplift somebody and you're like, no, I do believe you can do this. I do believe you are capable. And if you haven't caught on already, that is the way that I choose to think. You know, that's the way that I believe is often healthiest for most people. I mean, of course, there are some people who, like I said earlier, the unhealthy motivation of anger, that's the way that they kind of think and they feed into their source of energy. But anyways, I don't know how long this video is already, but I hope it isn't too long. Hopefully it's like 5 minutes by now. But yeah, I really love that show, and I'm not much of a sports kind of guy, I will be honest. I'm not so into sports. I'm not so into boxing, actually. And I'm definitely not that into violence, but I will say that animated shows, like cartoons and such, they've always meant so much to me. Like, maybe even more than actual real shows, which I mean, there's not much different either way it's a show, but and that's another thing. I know it is just a show, and it is all just a story written by somebody, but that doesn't make it any less inspiring and motivating, you know? I mean, the same way that some people are motivated by like Goku or something, right? And yeah, it's just extremely well. What am I saying right now? Who knows? Who knows what I'm saying? I don't know. My brain kind of farted right there, but yeah, it's a really good source of motivation. And the thing about motivation though is that it isn't lasting the way that being driven is. I mean, when you're driven, you always are determined. You're always like you always have the engine going, but motivation is sort of when you don't have the engine started and you need to like turn the key. But anyways, that was a really good um metaphor. But yo, good on me. But anyways, yeah. What the heck was I saying? Bro, who knows? Who knows? But something about violence and dude, it's totally all right. You know, sometimes you don't remember what you say and that's okay. You just move forward with the next thing. But oh, I think I was talking about shows and cartoons and yeah, what they mean to me. Well, growing up I always watched a whole lot of cartoons and actually I would say that the top three shows that have influenced me as a person and I've rewatched like countless times, like actually so many times. The three shows are Rick and Morty, which that's a more adult one, you know, one when I got a little bit older. And well, actually no, because I watched it when I was little as well. But yeah, Rick and Morty, and then there's Lego Ninjago, and then it is, let's see, Avatar: The Last Airbender. So those are three animated shows that I always think about who that they have the most influence in like for me as a person in shaping who I am. And I actually rewatch those shows very often. Um, I don't know when the last time I rewatched Rick and Morty was, but I definitely have seen a lot of it. Not the newer seasons, but yeah, man, that these shows are pretty meaningful to me. And I could say a lot about them, but I'm not gonna do it in this video. If you want to hear more about that, then I encourage you to, you know, reach out and say, hey, you know, I'd love to hear more about some of these things that you're talking about. And then I'll actually make a real script and a real organized video that's structured and oh my gosh, that drop is intense. But yeah. I know I'm sort of like a nomad right now in this game. I'm just kind of walking around, not really knowing where I'm going. Just maybe I've gone in a circle, who knows? But yeah, I think I'm gonna talk about maybe one more thing and then I'll just get going for this video. But that last thing I want to talk about is, let's see. I'll talk about, since I was on the topic of things that meant something to me as a kid, I'll talk about uh some of the other things that influenced me as a kid growing up and still to this day. And one of those things is YouTubers, and YouTubers have actually spoke with one of my friends recently about YouTuber Evan Fong. You might know him better as Vanoss Gaming. The dude is an absolute legend. But yeah, I spoke with my friend recently about how that guy has meant so much to me, and he really did give me a lot of laughs throughout my life. And I have so much thanks for that and gratefulness towards somebody who may not know me at all, may not ever know me, but they most certainly have left their mark on me. For that, I am like eternally thankful. And there are so many YouTubers. I mean, I'm just gonna list them off my head, like Stampy Longnose, his friend iBallistic Squid. There's of course Vanoss. Who else? I honestly can't not think of any other people. Holy cow. Dude, there's so many other people, but I don't know why I'm blanking here, but it's totally okay. If I think of other people, I will put them up on screen if I can edit this video. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. I think I'll wrap this up and by saying, oh yeah, some other video games too. Video games definitely influenced me a lot, Spent a lot of my time on screens now that I think about it, As much as I say like, people are spending too much time on IG Reels, blah blah blah. Like but as much as I talk about Reels and how people, overstimulate themselves, I definitely did spend majority of my childhood on a screen. Probably on a screen more than I was, speaking with a human being. But I don't know. I'd say I turned out well, but I don't know. Well, but not amazing. That's okay. It's okay. The story continues. And but yeah, speaking of the story continuing, this is where I will conclude this installment, I guess, this episode, this video, this playthrough. Not really a playthrough, I'm just kind of playing the game in the background as I speak. But yeah, I know this was not like not written whatsoever. This was not well structured. There's a forest fire. Oh my gosh, only you can prevent forest fires. But yeah, I know this video was not well scripted. Not scripted at all actually, but I hope that you could have found some sort of something that you can relate with, something that I talked about, something that matters to you, and something you'd want to talk more about, whether that is, oh my gosh, whether that is on this channel or just with your friends, Like as I said, I always make these videos just not really about me or anything, not centered around me. It's more about discussion and encouraging that discussion, whether that is outside of this channel or, within it. Yeah, this is where we will settle for the night. I wish you guys the best and thank you again. Um, I will see you guys later and talk with you sometime soon. Farewell, my friends.